Hello, and welcome to Redirected on the River. In this episode, we take to the water with Tampa City Councilman Guido Maniscalco. Guido is a Tampa native, an expert on local history, a hardworking public servant, and an all-around nice guy.
Well, being born and raised in Tampa, I've seen a lot of changes in the last 36 years. Even in the last 20 years when I was on the rowing team with Tampa Catholic, and we would come right down these waters. Some changes in houses, a lot of demolitions and new construction, but as you go further down, because we would launch from Tampa Catholic and head south, you see the Riverwalk, which didn't exist. You see Julian Lane Park and Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park, which didn't exist in their current state. You see so much change at University of Tampa. You see the Armature Works building, which was vacant and non-existent essentially. Eulalie. We have Waterworks Park right there. But it's not only what we've built and what we've done as a city over the last decade, really, is the amount of people that come here. A lot of people that never would visit the river. They say they would have no reason to. And now it's families and out-of-towners and people coming to eat and doing exercise and whatever it is, they're out here. And the river is really activated, and it should always have been the centerpiece of our city and the centerpiece of downtown, because it's the water brings people together. And all the amenities that we've built and offered has surely shown that. Even in this time of the coronavirus and COVID-19, people wanted to get out of the house, they would go to the Riverwalk, they would go to the water, they would be outdoors, on their boat, whatever it is. So it solves a lot of problems. It's not just a beautiful thing, but it keeps people busy, it keeps Tampa exciting and fun, and here we are. And this is just really the beginning, because these are all new things. So in this area here, this was a city lot, which we would park solid waste vehicles and whatnot. We cleared that out, and we've had discussions on affordable housing, new housing. This whole area here, Main Street, Boulevard, this is Rome right up here, is going to be it's ripe for new development, new housing, new retail, just a whole new community where everyone can be a part of. And as you go down from there, you get into downtown, you get into Tampa Heights, and I've already discussed everything that's happening, but it'll be a live, work, play environment. People can say they live here, they can walk to the river, they can walk to the retail store, they can walk to the park. It's safe for kids, make it safe for the pedestrians, because we have to focus on bicycle safety, walking safety, however it is, but just make it a sustainable area. And I think that's what we're doing, and that's part of the grand master plan. And of course here you have Armature Works coming up. You have the Beck building. You have Stetson Law School, which used to be was the site of the old police department. And then you have a new hotel coming. You have office space, a new parking garage, and all this is going to be developed. You have the Pearl, so you have a lot of new housing, new apartments for people that want to be close to downtown or close to this area here. Armature Works, of course, there's plenty of places to eat. It's family friendly with Eulalie next door. They have outdoor dining. You can sit in a chair here, you can pull up a table there and enjoy a meal. You can dock your boat. They have stand-up paddleboarding, which is something very difficult but very fun, a good workout. But what's nice is you have the Riverwalk that connects you from Armature Works all the way to Harbor Island. And then in between, you have the streetcar, which people can ride and take it to Ybor City. At the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s, Tampa was really growing. The cigar industry began to take off after 1886 with Ybor City. City of Tampa was organized in 1887. But we were the cigar capital of the world. And this bridge connected West Tampa that had its cigar factories and Ybor City with its cigar factories. So you'll have people that joke and say, I'm the product of a mixed marriage. My father was from West Tampa, my mother was from Ybor City. A little piece of trivia, this used to be Phillips Field, and on Phillips Field, Sloth, the character from the Goonies, who was a student here at University of Tampa, played football here. So there's random trivia, but I believe it was Phillips Field. Now the Straz has a huge master plan. They're looking at expanding it, redeveloping it, public art installations, completely, making it more of an open space for private events. Of course, the shows that they have.
And 18 boat slips.
Good. I think that you can dock and watch a show.
Every time the new rendition comes out, I'm counting them.
And you know they will be used. People want this. So here we have University of Tampa on the right. You can see a lot of the mid-century architecture still, closer to the river with the original plant hotel in the back. One building that's missing is the arcade, which I believe was right over here. That was demolished. Or, I'm sorry, not the arcade, the casino. Either one of those. But, of course, hotel converted into a university, a victim of the Great Depression, I think. And Henry Plant, of course, the father of the railroad here on the west coast of Florida with Flagler on the other side. And what we see here, these were hunting grounds in the late 1800s, early 1900s, where, hotel guests could come and enjoy. And that changed. But I believe the train stopped right at the hotel. So, guests are welcome here right on the water. Florida back then wasn't as developed, especially in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And, it was a tropical paradise to get away. And now it's completely changed and grown. But I'm glad that we maintain that hotel because the minarets are very iconic as symbols of Tampa. These are all new, of course. 1980s construction with the Rivergate Tower, aka Sykes Building, aka Beer Can Building. The Aloft Hotels was, I believe, IBM at one point, and you can tell mid-century 1960s design and architecture. And then you have some of the, high-rises of Tampa, Bank of America, and whatnot, those that we recognize. This, of course, NBC building, Channel 8, and the Tampa Tribune from before that was demolished and replaced with residential. And another thing that we have on the Riverwalk that connects all the way down to the History Center and beyond, the bus on the Riverwalk of significant individuals that have contributed in some way to Tampa. It could be Gabino Gutierrez, an engineer that helped lay down and create the infrastructure for Ybor, and is given the credit for bringing Ybor here. Instead of saying, settle in Key West, come to Tampa, and, Vicente Martinez Ybor listened to him and came here. That's significant. You have people like Moses White, a giant in the African American community, passed away in 1984, but throughout so much change in the 1960s and 70s, he was there in the 1950s before. Respected business leader, respected family. You can hear his story. Fortune Taylor has a marker. Frank Adamo, Dr. Frank Adamo, Adamo Drive. You read about this American hero going back to World War II and his story. Blanche Armwood, of course, Armwood High School, which people know and recognize her contributions. Kate Jackson, who has a community center in Hyde Park. Former mayors of Tampa, doctors, the first woman postmaster here. She's showcased on the Riverwalk. One of the Moss brothers, family members, Wise, I believe. She's featured on the river. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You have, I believe, the bus to Patrick Mantega's grandfather, La Gazette newspaper, the nation's only trilingual newspaper. You can read that story, because that goes back to, I believe, 1922. Its story is told on the Riverwalk. This is my favorite commercial building downtown, high-rise, is the Regions building. Has a lot of great public art inside. It just, feels really grand. And even the Wells Fargo has a nice bottom floor. I know here is another proposed project that's morphing, changing, but this will be exciting, whatever it's going to look like.
Now, since you were on a rowing team, can you talk a little bit about the...
These were universities that would come down, and we had the art here, and we had the crew art closer to Curtis Hickson, which was not preserved on that side when the Riverwalk came in. So it was apparently photographed for preservation purposes, but this stayed. you know, this is public art. This is, you know, adds character to the river. Because people look at it and go, what's this? It's not graffiti. It's not, even graffiti's art. It's how you perceive it. But this is important for those that pass through here. I mean, you see the dates, late 90s, 23, here's Purdue, 97. You know, even under the bridge, it adds to the character. Of course, here you have the Tampa Convention Center. Used to be the site of a Cadillac dealership and a restaurant called the Old Fort, which was known back in the day, 1960s or so. Tampa General Hospital, you know, it's grown significantly, but if you look, you can still see the original structure in the middle, which is cool that it's preserved and still used. And of course, the Gaspirilla ship, the Jose Gaspirilla, Jose Gasper, whatever the boat's name is.
We make the turn here. Of course, being Tampa natives, we have had to explain what is Gaspirilla over and over again. So I would love to hear what your explanation of the event
is. A parade with pirates, and those pirates are usually prominent individuals that they could be your doctor, could be your attorney, could be whomever, dressed as pirates, and for the day, they have a lot of fun. Here's the Jose Gasparilla. The ship comes in, which I enjoy watching every year. It docks at the Tampa Convention Center. The fight begins several days before with the invasion into the mayor's office. They kidnap the mayor. They want the key to the city. The mayor refuses. And they say, if you don't hand over the key to the city, we're going to invade your city. So this goes back to 1904, I believe. 1903, 1904, beginning of the 20th century. And that's it. It's the mystic crew of Gasparilla, which has evolved over time. And it's gotten bigger and bigger. And here, of course, we're on Bayshore. So you have the floats that go down. It's a day parade, several hours. You don't know what you're going to get. It's going to be a very hot day. It'll be freezing cold. It could be raining. I've experienced many Gasparillas, but it's that one day in Tampa that is it's a lot of fun. You can be a kid for the day. In the 1920s, with Davis Islands being developed by Mr. Davis, there's a lot of Mediterranean architecture, a lot of structures that still exist. You have the Hotel Marisol, which is now residential. You have another apartment building, which is original from that era. You have the Palace of, the name escapes me, but that structure is original, Davis Island. Then you have Peter O'Knight Airport at the end, a smaller airport. Peter O'Knight was a Tampa City Council member, very well-respected individual. This is the Water Street area, which is a completely new downtown. USF College of Medicine is now here, which is huge. You have a new hotel, the JW Marriott, which is wrapping up. You're going to have another Marriott product. I believe it's a 5-star hotel, which there are a few around the world. But this little bridge here, Franklin Street, used to connect with, this was called Seton Island. And a lot of the buildings that were demolished, old hotels and whatnot in downtown in the 60s and 70s, that rubble was brought here. So underneath these foundations are the remnants of the old hotels. So Seton Island, of course, became Harbor Island. And it's changed. There's a lot of new residential restaurants have come and gone over the years here. Now you have American Social, and you have the Westin Hotel, and but when it first opened, Harbor Island had a thing called the People Mover, and you needed the People Mover coins. Of course, that was dismantled. So it's nice. I mean, you have the Sail Pavilion here. You have Big Ray's Fish Camp, places to eat. There's other restaurants, Harpoon Harry's. So for people that are visiting or coming down to stay, get away for the weekend, they can dock their boat. They have a hotel. They have places to eat. And again, they can hop on the streetcar and go and see some of our history down in Ybor City and really get a little bit of Tampa flavor, which is important. We want people to come and visit and leave happy and want to come back. But it's exciting. There's a lot to see and there's a lot to do. And if you say you're bored, you just haven't explored enough. And And you don't have to be on the water to do it. I mean, you can come downtown, you can explore our neighborhoods, whatever it is. There's something for everyone.